Okay, I just saw the September issue last night with Anna Wintour, and I feel compelled to share some of my stories when I first started as host of Fashion File, trying to interview Anna Wintour, and some of my funny experiences. One that really sticks out to me was Narciso Rodriguez. I believe it was fall/winter 2008, year of elections. This was the night of the primary votes across the United States. So as a Canadian, I didn't quite understand how important that night was, but most people, it was rearing on 8 or 9 o'clock at night for the show. A lot of the editors were anxious at finding out who the candidates were going to be. It's minutes before the show's about to start. I just finished interviewing other editors and celebrities at the show, and I look over and there's Anna Wintour sitting beside Candy Pratt-Price. And I think, you know what, if I can get this interview with her right now, the rest of my week in New York will be a lot more relaxed. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna try this. So I quickly, with my cameraman, I walk up to Anna and I look at her and I say, Anna, may I please have an interview? And she looks at me and she looks up, and you know, nothing's for free in this world. She looks at me and she says, you know what, I will give you an interview, but you need to tell me the tallies on the primary votes this evening. And I look over and I'm thinking, uh-oh, she's just challenged me. And if I turn around and say to her, you know, I don't know how to do that, or I don't think I can get that in time, I think I've killed my possibilities of getting an interview for the entire week in New York Fashion Week. So I'm like, okay, game's on, I'm gonna do this. So I turn around and I say, I'll be right back. Beads of sweat are literally pouring down my face. I'm thinking, what have I gotten myself into? This show is about to start. I've got to get my cameraman on the sticks. And I look over at my producer, I have my interns there, and I have my assistant, and I'm like, who's got an iPhone? All of a sudden, God bless America, 2 iPhones come out, and immediately I'm like, I need to know what the tallies are on the primaries right this second. And they're like, this isn't even fashion related, what are you talking about? I say, I have no time to explain. Anna Wintour's gonna give me an interview, but we need to get her this information right away. And as soon as I say that, it's like these interns are just typing away, trying to get as much information as possible. So there we are, documenting all these names with all the votes beside them in each state, and we're just, it's like, it's nonstop, and the clock is ticking. And I look over at the piece of paper, and it's all chicken scratch. And I start to panic. I'm thinking, oh my God, she's not even able to read this, and she's never gonna give me an interview again when she sees the poor penmanship that I'm giving to her. That's how frightened I am in this moment. So I quickly memorize all of them. I run over to her. I smile. She looks up at me, and I go down the list, and I literally tell her, you know, which candidates and where they are in the running. And after I'm done, I'm completely winded. She looks up at me and she says, I guess you earned this interview. And she stood up, and I was like, oh, thank God. And she gives me this interview. At the Marc Jacobs show a few nights later on the Monday night, you know, for those of you who don't know about Marc Jacobs shows, it's a complete, absolute, like, it's pandemonium at these shows. And Candy Pratt-Price walks in, one of my favorite people in the world of fashion. Comes up and I'm like, Candy, may I have an interview, please? And she's like, of course. She comes up and she looks at me and she goes, good job the other night. And I smiled at her. I kind of knew what she was talking about. And I said, why? What do you mean? And she smiled and said, you got in Anna's good books the other night. I didn't think you were able to pull that one through, but man, you came through smelling like roses. And I said, I was so worried that she wasn't going to give me an interview this entire season if I didn't get her that information. And Candy just gave me this look like, yeah, you're probably right. That was one of the very anxious moments I had with Anna Wintour, but a rewarding one nonetheless, because when you watch the documentary, the September issue, you can see that she is probably the most powerful woman. Well, she is the most powerful woman in the world of fashion, and getting even a moment of validation from her goes a long way. So I've got some other stories coming up about Andre Leon Talley, so stay tuned for those. I'm going to just think about them and do another vlog. In the meantime, visit my site, www.adrianmainella.com, for more of these stories and more fashion and style information. And join me on Twitter at Adrian Mainella.